I didn't think declining an invitation would change the course of my life. It was such a simple sentence, almost careless, "I just don't want to hang out tonight." My phone buzzed with a dozen unread messages from the group chat. My friends were planning yet another night out, dinner, drinks, and who knows what afterward. Normally, it'd go, smile through the noise, pretend to enjoy myself. But that evening, the thought of slipping into their chatter-filled world made my stomach knot. I wanted silence, solitude, maybe a book and some music, nothing more. So I typed the words, sent them off, and placed my phone face down. It felt like nothing at all. But the fallout began almost immediately. The first cracks appeared the next morning. I noticed the group chat had gone unusually quiet, at least for me. Photos of clinking glasses, laughing faces, half-empty bottles flooded in, but my name was conspicuously absent from every caption. When I added a comment, nobody responded. It was as if my voice had been swallowed whole. By the second week, the silence had sharpened into something colder. One of my closest friends, Julia, stopped replying to my texts. Another, Mark, who used to call me just to vent about his bad days, suddenly had no time. Even the casual acquaintances, the ones who never cared much, now seemed united in their decision I was on the outside. At first, I thought it was paranoia. Maybe they were just busy. Maybe I was reading too much into their clipped replies. But then I overheard it, really, when I walked into a cafe we all used to frequent. They were there, clustered around a corner table, laughing. I almost waved before I caught the tail end of Julia's sentence, "She thinks she's better than us." One night she didn't want to hang out, and suddenly she's too good for anyone. My stomach dropped. They weren't whispering, they weren't even trying to hide it. My name became the punchline of their jokes, my absence the symbol of betrayal. And that was the twist I hadn't expected. I thought I was protecting myself from exhaustion, from social pressure. But in their eyes, I had committed the ultimate crime. By saying no once, I had betrayed the unspoken rule that we always showed up, no matter what. The betrayal cut both ways. They felt abandoned, I felt crucified. And in the quiet that followed, I realized the truth that sometimes the people who claim to care about you only value you for your compliance. But the story didn't end there, because as I dug deeper, I uncovered that my friends hadn't just excluded me. They had taken something of mine, something personal, and twisted it into a weapon. The calf moment should have been enough warning, but it wasn't until a few days later that I realized how deep the betrayal went. I was scrolling through social media when I saw it, a meme. At first glance, it looked harmless, just another inside joke my friends liked to post. But the longer I stared, the more the pit in my stomach widened. It was about me. Not by name, of course, but by caricature. A woman sitting alone with a book, captioned with words eerily similar to what I had texted that night, "I just don't want to hang out." The comments underneath stung worse than the post itself. "Wow. Someone thinks they're special. Classic. Bet she's crying over this right now." And the worst one, left by Julia herself, "At least she's consistently boring." That's when I knew it wasn't just harmless gossip. They had turned my choice, my need for rest, for solitude, into a running joke. I had become a punchline, a shorthand for everything they despised. At first, I wanted to confront them, to storm into the group chat, demand an explanation, make them see how cruel they were being. But something inside me froze. Wouldn't that only feed into their narrative? Wouldn't that prove them right that I was too sensitive, too self-absorbed? Instead, I withdrew. I deleted the chat, muted their updates, tried to focus on myself. But isolation wasn't peace, it was torment. Because betrayal isn't just about what others do to you. It's about the echo it leaves inside you. The endless questions: was I wrong? Did I deserve it? Was I ever really their friend at all? Weeks passed before I found the courage to meet someone outside that circle. A colleague invited me for coffee, and I almost said no out of habit. But something in me whispered that I had to break the cycle. We sat down at a small cafe, and I poured out everything. The night I chose myself for once. The silence. The memes. The humiliation. She listened quietly, then said, "Words I'll never forget. Maybe they didn't betray you for saying no. Maybe they betrayed you because they needed someone weaker than them to hold their group together. And when you stopped playing that role, they punished you. The thought hit me like a storm. For years, I had been the reliable one, the listener, the problem solver, the one who always showed up. The moment I stopped, they replaced gratitude with cruelty. But the story didn't end with that realization, because a month later, I stumbled across something even worse. One of them Mark had stolen from me. Not money, not objects, but something more intimate, parts of my personal journal. I recognized phrases I had written late at night, raw confessions about my insecurities, my dreams, my fears. They had been lifted word for word and turned into cruel little jokes on his profile. That was the final knife in my back. My sanctuary, my private words, had been weaponized. And suddenly, everything made sense. It wasn't just that they didn't care if I came to their parties. They didn't care about me at all. What they valued was the version of me they could mock, manipulate, and control. So I made a choice. Not a loud one. Not a dramatic confrontation. I simply walked away. Deleted numbers. Blocked accounts. Burned the bridges they had already set on fire. Betrayal had cut me deeply, but in its place grew something unexpected: clarity. And though I still hear their laughter sometimes, echoing in the back of my mind, I no longer mistake it for friendship. Because I know now that betrayal doesn't begin the night you say no. It begins the moment someone decides your pain is entertainment. And once you see that truth, you can never unsee it.